And we'll get started because I know your time is valuable. And there's Kinsuke right there. So it looks like we're going to have both panelists on. Good afternoon, and thank you all for listening to, attending, um, kind of sort of being a part of the HW Alumni Act series. Again, we've already done MIT, Princeton, and Stanford. Today, we are doing Caltech. And I'm joined by my panelists, Olivia Wong and Kinsuke Shimojo. They are both 2023 Harvard Westlake, and they are both, what would that make you, rising juniors?
Rising sophomores.
Rising sophomores at Caltech. Again, these panels will take place 3:15 to 4 o'clock. You'll be able to obviously watch the recording, as most of you will. With that being said, we'll get started. We'll talk for about 20-25 minutes. And if anybody has any questions or concerns for Olivia Kinsuke on the call, they'll obviously be able to ask. If not, as most of you are at practice or on the bus, they have their LinkedIn information and they're both on the platform. So you'll be able to contact them that way. With that being said, there's my 30-second intro. So Olivia and Kinsuke are going to talk about themselves for a little bit, and then we'll get started. So whichever one of you wants to start, can go ahead.
Okay. I'm Olivia. Nice to meet you guys. I'm a rising sophomore at Caltech studying bioengineering.
Kinsuke?
All right. Hi everyone. My name is Kensuke Shimojo. Yeah, same grade as Olivia. I joined Harvard Westlake as a ninth grader, and I'm actually a transfer student. So I spent my first year of college at UC San Diego, and I'll be coming into Caltech in a couple of weeks. So I can't answer any questions about what the campus life is or what the undergrad experience is like, but yeah, I can't answer stuff about the transfer applications, and I'm planning to be a physics major there. So yeah, nice to meet you all.
That's very good. That's very good. And I appreciate that insight that you can give, Kinsuke. Excuse me.
Oh, either's fine. Yeah, thank you.
I guess I want to start with you two. I guess it's a little bit more of the intro than maybe I gave you two before. Um, why are you doing this? You're both very busy. You're at a very elite, engineering school. It's 3:15 Tuesday. And obviously I'm sure you all have affinity for Harvard Westlake and affinity for Caltech, but why are you doing this? I mean, we thank you for it, but this is a lot.
Um, I don't know. I would say I had a really good time at Harvard Westlake. I met a lot of people. Like Kensuke and I were on the same Science Olympiad team, and so was Jingjing. So it was kind of funny that we're all going to Caltech. Um,
That's true.
yeah, but also it's like summer for us right now, so it's like a nice time to sort of connect back to the high school times. So.
Yeah, I agree. It's at least for me it's not too busy yet. It's still a week or two before summer break starts. So yeah, I thought this was a nice time to get in touch with the Harvard Westlake community again. And also yeah, just for me I thought my experience as a transfer student might be like my might be a rare source of information for some people if they're all interested in that. So yeah, I thought might as well.
We thank you for it. I really, really do appreciate it. It's just, whenever I'm always not overwhelmed, but really warmed when because everybody is busy. But when you take the time, to give us 45 minutes because it's so insightful and it's so worthwhile, not only for our current students, but also a lot of our parents who will join the call. And of course, our faculty and staff who, entertain these questions from our students, even along with our deans. So with that being said, I think we'll get started. I'm particularly interested in your answer to this, uh, Kensuke, because you transferred in. So either one of you can take this first. Um, what is your school or major? And I think you all have told us, but tell us again just so we'll know. And why was Caltech the right choice?
Hmm. Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I'm going in as a physics major, and that's actually pretty strongly connected to the reason I transferred. So in high school, I kind of went all over the place in terms of what I wanted to do. I mean, I definitely knew I wanted to do something in STEM just because I knew I was interested in it, and I was also kind of bad at humanities. But I went between like biology and engineering, doing robotics or Science Olympiad build events, and a little bit of physics through Science Olympiad as well. So I didn't really know which one to do. So when I went to UCSD, I got accepted as a marine bio major. And I thought, yeah, and I was happy to do that too. But when after taking some physics classes there, and a big part was actually Harvard was the physics directed study that I took at the end of my in my last year at Harvard Westlake. That one really made me interested in what physics has to offer, and I realized it kind of and then taking classes at UCSD about physics, I thought it really matched the way I think, and I found it really satisfying. So I decided that I want to give that a shot. But UCSD was is probably like more well known as a biology school than a physics school. So and Caltech is very well known for physics. It has a very rich history of physicists with figures like Richard Feynman, who used to teach there. And I thought if I wanted to give and physics the best try I could, then Caltech would be the place. So yeah, that's the main reason I transferred.
Oh, you have a
Oh,
question.
can you please
Oh,
talk
there
more
is a,
about the physics directed study? What's that?
yeah, go ahead. I have no problems. We usually save Q&A for the end for timing wise, but if somebody wants to talk about it now, go ahead. If you want
Okay.
to talk about it now, go ahead.
Yeah. Um, it was okay. When I took it, it was still at the very beginning. So it was there's actually only like five people in the class, including myself. And so I don't know what it looks like now, but the way I understand, but the class I took, went over all the different types of topics that physics covers that the AP Physics curriculum doesn't cover. So AP Physics would only cover mechanics and electricity and magnetism, and maybe a little bit of waves and fluid dynamics and stuff like that. But then the directed study went a lot more into the other aspects of physics, like astronomy, astrophysics, black holes, Einstein's theory of relativity, more fluid dynamics, more thermodynamics, and it was really nice because there wasn't as much pressure as, for example, the AP Physics classes to have to excel in the class or anything, because there isn't really that much work to do there besides just learn what subjects there are and be amazed at it. So for me, yeah, that was it was a really great time. I think it also got Alfred last year. I'm guessing the class grew in size at least, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure what it looks like now. But yeah, I'd highly recommend it if you're interested at all in physics. I really liked it.
And so, yeah, you have another question. So
Oh,
before we get Olivia, before we get to why Caltech was right for you, we got I knew the transfer was going to get some parents and some students interested, intrigued, and today, which is why I thank you for doing this. What were the transfer dates and process like from UC to Caltech? Did your professors try to persuade you to stay, or were they neutral, or even suggesting you
mm,
transfer?
yeah, that's a good question. I'll take it step by step. So for the transfer dates and the process, um, there's two. For Caltech, the transfer application was due February 15th, and that's basically what the regular college application has, except with a couple of changes. There's no personal statement essay, but but instead there's an essay about why you want to transfer. and most of the questions are the same as are the same as the regular applications as far as I know. So yeah, you need to complete. So I needed to complete that, and also get letters of recommendations from professors, which this question also kind of touches on. But that's actually what I thought at first too. Like if I asked, please write a letter of recommendation for a transfer application, that would sound like I want to get out of this university or something or something like that. But for one, like they're complete. Yeah, for one, they were very nice about it. I think they a friend, actually I talked about this with a friend, and I think he put it really well. They care first and foremost about what's best for you as a student. So if you think maybe you want to transfer out of UCSD, then they will support that, and they will be nice about it. And they will be nice about it. They're not gonna like persuade you into trying to pursue you into staying or anything like that. They are very nice about that. And yeah, when I did email them, they were awesome about it. And yeah, I was also and I was also just really happy at UCSD as well. So there wasn't any kind of like ulterior motive or anything like that. Um, and there's also one more part to to the transfer process, which is the transfer exam, which was due, I think, 15 days after the application, which is March 1st. It was due March 1st, where you have to take a test on math and another test on physics. And that wasn't just because I was a physics major. That's for every transfer student. But but you have to take a test for those, and they'll. Oh, actually, someone from admissions talked with me about it, but they mostly they mostly look at how you attempt at solving those math or physics questions, and because you have to write out all the work and you just submit that PDF. So you so I actually looked back at my own test, and I definitely got quite a few wrong. But I think that is also part of the design. It was a fairly hard test. I could go more into that if anyone likes, but I don't want to drone on for too long, but that's another big part of the Caltech transfer application. I don't think any other transfer applications had those. So I think it's a Caltech specific thing.
Sounds
No.
like it.
Yeah, feel free to we'll have to save some time at the end if people want you to go more in depth. Olivia actually has the honor, though I want to check it. I think she was the very first student I got an internship or research opportunity for. And it was at Caltech, if I'm not mistaken, Olivia. So talk to us. What is your school and major again? And how did you know Caltech was right for you? That was the right place for you?
So I'm studying bioengineering, and the lab that I'm working in right now for like my summer research is the same lab that I did before college, and it's Murray Lab, and it's in synthetic biology, which is something I didn't really know that much about before, like really getting into research. And Caltech definitely has a lot of resources for research, so if that's something that is interesting to you, like I would definitely look into the different labs that we have at Caltech, not just in bioengineering, but also physics, chemistry, like basically every discipline we have. We always have like really amazing professors that do really cool research. And I really liked the environment because like all the grad students were really supportive when mentoring us, and like it's like nice because you can present like weird ideas. Like we have this thing called crazy ideas, and you just like say something sort of related to biology, but it could just be anything. Like you'd be like, I just want to play video games with DNA molecules, and then they would like actually be excited to hear about it. So yeah, in terms of like why I chose Caltech for my major, I think that wasn't like the biggest factor for me. I think when choosing Caltech, I was really looking at the people because the people here are really kind. And we also have this big like stress on collaboration. So a lot of our problem sets are really hard, but we're allowed to collaborate with others as long as we credit them and as long as we're not like literally copying off of them. And that's like a really big part of our school since each grade is not that big. I would say around the same as Harvard Westlake. Like I think Kensuke and I's grade is like 270 or 290 maybe. So it's like relatively small compared to other schools. So that means like you could walk around and that means you would know most people. So if you ask me like, do you know this person at Caltech? I'd probably say yes. Um, so yeah, I would say the people at Caltech was really why I chose to apply there early. And then yeah, I really enjoyed getting to know about the research and just exploring science more.
Cool. And just to add for people, and we'll talk about it more in not the next question, but the question afterwards. It was remarkable when I visited Caltech how emphasized that collaborative nature that Olivia was talking about. I was shocked. I think, elite engineering school, MIT, Caltech, I'm thinking everybody is going to be cutthroat. And it was literally the exact opposite, which I found to be fascinating. The next question is on diversity. How diverse is your school/major and campus overall? Of course, this is going to be juxtaposed with your Harvard Westlake experience, which is, there's a ton of diversity here if you ask me. How is it at Caltech?
Um, so I think like in terms of diversity, it's I would say probably not as diverse as Harvard Westlake, but just recently we had our 50% female population for the whole school. So they're really trying their best to like, diversify the perspective and voices. Um, and then I like work at Caltech admissions as an admissions ambassador. It's like really fun because I get to meet like all the different prospective students and give tours. And then I'm on the social media team, so I like make memes.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
funny. It's very Gen Z, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
memes to like promote the school and be relatable. So yeah, I would say like we definitely have a lot of resources and they're like trying to expand in terms of diversity. We have a lot of different like affinity groups and they sort of host different events for different holidays, which is nice. Um, but I would say that compared to Harvard Westlake, it's still some progress that needs to be made.
And before you go, Kensuke, you had a question, Olivia, from one of our audience members. Hi, Olivia. We made a few attempts this summer, but we either get no response or response saying the research opportunities for undergraduates only. I'm sure you ran into that. I know we ran into that. How should we go forward?
So like if the professors you're asking right now are saying it's for undergrad only, I wouldn't pursue that professor further. Instead, I would look for labs that historically do have high school students. Like I know there's a few labs that partner up with like the local public schools in the San Gabriel area and like they sort of have connections with like high school students. So I would like sort of target those labs because they'd be more willing to accept you. And then also when I was looking for opportunities, so SURF is our summer undergraduate research fellowship program, and we have a board, like a website board that has like all the opportunities listed. So I was like, my logic was like, if they're willing to have undergrads that are like a few years older than me, they're probably more willing to have high school students. So I would like just go for labs that are more open to mentoring, like younger students because some labs just don't have the resources to do that, which is okay. But if that's something that you want to do, like I would just definitely keep trying different labs and then hopefully one will say yes.
Thank you, Olivia. I appreciate it. Kensuke, diversity at Caltech. I know you just transferred in, but what have you seen, experienced thus far?
Um, yeah, I'm not sure there's too much I can say for this one just because I haven't lived on campus that much. Um, Let me think. Yeah. I also oh yeah also did have some research opportunities at Caltech, and based on that Yeah, I can definitely say there's a lot of interesting people with different skill sets, different interests, and it's been really fun asking and talking about with everyone about those different interests and what makes them tick, what makes them so interested in what they're willing to devote their life to, basically. And in terms of demographics, yeah, like Olivia brought up, the next year's class has a majority female population. So yeah, I think there. Yeah, I do remember. I think Caltech faced some criticisms in terms of not being diverse enough for the past couple of years, but I think they are taking a step in the right direction to for a more diverse student population.
Great. Next, our next question is more of a nuts and bolts. How did you get to Caltech? Kind of a sort of question. What did you do? What did you do this summer after your sophomore and junior year at Harvard Wesleyan? Don't all jump in at once.
Like after sophomore year and after junior year?
Right? Summer, you had sophomore year, then there was the summer after sophomore year, right? Then you had junior year, and it was the summer after junior year. What did you do in those 2 summers?
Oh,
Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I could go first. Let's see. After sophomore, the summer after sophomore year, let's see. Oh yeah, I remember working on robotics a lot because I was pretty big on pretty invested into the robotics team at Harvard Westlake. I think they're doing FIRST Robotics, but but it used to be Vex Robotics, and um we brought home a bunch of parts and the field elements, and we started making the robot for the next season, which is definitely fun, and it was productive. However, it wasn't actually it wasn't the best way of doing it, because after a while people started coming up with a lot of better ideas and posted those on the internet, and those became like the mainstream design for the robots, and we had a completely different thing. Our first prototype actually didn't work out too well. But let's see, that was a big part. And then I also did some research project based on these worms called planarians. It was a biology research, but that was mostly a personal project that kind of evolved from a science fair project that I did way back in seventh grade. Otherwise I just oh and yeah, otherwise I just went on this my family has an annual family trip to Japan to go see my grandparents, since they're both in their 90s, and yeah, I just want to spend some time with them whenever we can. So to be honest, yeah, for me personally, I didn't do too much over summer, but yeah, that's pretty much about it, I think.
Just for my clarification, sophomore year summer was robotics, and then junior year summer you did like biological research.
Oh, actually, yeah, that about covers it. Yeah, after junior year, there was a transition to a different robotics. So yeah, that covers it.
Cool. Olivia?
So after my sophomore year, I was interning at like a doctor's office because I was sort of interested in like what pre-med would be like that sort of track. So I was sort of seeing like what it's like to be a doctor and if I'd like that. And then after junior year, I was researching at Caltech for like around 10 weeks, and that was like my major project for that summer. And then that summer, I also like a lot of my time was working on like college essays and sort of thinking about like what's important to me and like what I want to convey in my essays, which is important. But during the summer, I agree with Kensuke. Like, I think that's time to like rest and recharge for the school year and visit family. Like, I definitely traveled some to see family and like see new places. So I wouldn't stress too much about like what I need to do this summer. Just like as long as you find one thing that you're proud of in the summer, I think that's already pretty good.
Pretty good advice there. And the fourth one is that same kind of nuts and bolts, how'd you get into college question. If you're comfortable sharing, would you write about in your college essay? And additionally, what were some of the things you were involved in at HW?
Um, I think my personal statement was sort of a combination of stories. Like I feel like there's a lot of different ways to tackle this. Um, so I would say like what's more important to you. Like one of the biggest achievements I had at Harvard Westlake was probably starting a science Olympiad team with Helena. And like I guess I was thinking about like why I was motivated to do so. I feel like a lot of times girls in STEM, they feel like, they can't really pursue what they want to do because there's like a conception that they're not as smart or something like that. So I kind of want to like create a community that supports like underrepresented people in STEM. So that sort of like was the background motivation throughout my essay and connected like to different actions that I had. And obviously for like college specific questions, a lot of that requires research into the school and whether or not that's a fit for you. Because I grew up around Caltech, like I knew a lot about Caltech and like I was like, there. Kensuke was also there a lot. So I think when you're trying to find like which colleges to apply to, like ask yourself why you want to apply to there and like where you see yourself there. Obviously you want to grow in college and yeah, I just when answering like why Caltech questions, I was always like really passionate. So I'd definitely keep that in mind.
Okay.
I could, yes, I know it says college essay. I'm thinking whether to talk about my first year applications or my transfer applications essays, but I guess I could broadly go over both of them.
Yeah.
Um, for my first year applications, for my personal statement, I talked about my experience with robotics, since frankly, I think that was the one I was the most invested in. And I mostly just talked about how about my passion with like engineering and problem solving and pushing through and trying to find a solution when it gets tough, and finding that and the satisfaction that comes from finding that solution. But let's and Oh, actually, but then at UCSD, what's my for my transfer application, I think I did talk about a somewhat similar thing, but in a but more so with physics. After I realized that's what I wanted to keep pursuing. So I also talked about like that physics directed study. Actually, yeah, that was one of my essays. I talked about this. One thing I talked about was the speech that a professor made about how science about the ways science benefits humanity and how special it really is. Without going too deep into it, that's basically what it was about. I heard it at a seminar class at UCSD, but I think oh, and as bit of a tip that I learned at UCSD, I guess, I remember at Harvard was like the tension was pretty darn high, and like college and college applications is almost like a forbidden thing to talk about between students. Maybe that I'm probably exaggerating there, but still, at least for me, it was hard for me to reach out for help, to ask friends about those kind of stuff. Partly because partly because neither of my parents have gone through the American college admissions process, so they didn't know too much about it, and I was at that time too afraid to ask other people for help or ask about like what is my essay good? Is my am I doing this right? But at UCSD, I found a friend who was also deciding to fill out a bunch of transfer applications. We did it together, and the what and his edit and his reviews of my essay helped greatly, I think. I mostly, yeah, the stuff I wrote about, like the content, was mostly the same before and after the revision, but the way everything was put, like writing with a friend really helped in that term, because again, I'm really bad at humanities. I'm bad at writing usually. So I didn't exactly know much about hooks, about writing good hooks, being engaging and having like an emotional voice or anything like that. I just kind of wrote blankly and blandly at the beginning. So I guess my takeaway from that is just like, and I know the pressure if you're yeah still if you're still going into the college application process. I know it's the tensions are high and it's you're feeling the pressure, but it's but your friend is too. And if you can just open up, if there's a friend, if you have a friend you can open up to with that about and just be frank with each other, then then helping each other out there, whether it's like with essay revisions, I think that's a really nice way of going about the process.
Thank you, Kensuke. Olivia, you just wrote something in the chat that I think bears repeating for everybody, obviously, because people won't be able to read the chat when they listen to the recording. Can you put into speech what you just wrote into the chat concerning grades at Caltech?
So I'd say definitely like straight A's are not a requirement to get into Caltech. Um, I wasn't as strong in terms of like humanities at Harvard Westlake, and I still got into Caltech. I think what they look for is really like your passion for the science topics that you're interested in. And like definitely they do look for strength in terms of like math and science. But like high school is not like the end point, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't stress too much about like getting straight A's. I would just more look into like what like what are you passionate about and like how can you convey that to the admissions officers. Um and we're allowed to like look at our files, like our admissions files when we get after we get in and attend the school. And one of my friends, he didn't get like a straight A for a calculus class. And instead of like shaming them, the admissions officer was like, "This is unique. I like this." So definitely don't stress about it. In terms of grades, grades are important, but they're not everything. It's more about like the story that ties to your application.
Excellent. And this will be our final question, so we'll have time for Q&A if there are some even afterwards. And this will require both you, Olivia, and Kitsuke to maybe be a little reflective or even forward thinking because you aren't there yet. But do you feel Caltech is preparing you for your career and or life after Caltech?
Um,
Tough, right? We got two rising sophomores thinking about 3 years from now.
I mean, I'm just getting started there.
Yeah, right?
I would say like Caltech has a lot of resources, and even if you are doing something that they don't know that much about, like they're always willing to help. Um, I think for bioengineering, like I don't really know what the option like I didn't really know what the options were out of college. And so I sort of asked like my professor, who's like the head of the lab I'm working in, like, oh, what are the different paths I can take? And he was really nice. He was like walking through all the different processes. And then we also have like a really nice career office called CALE. Like Caltech has a lot of acronyms. That's like their favorite thing in the world. So we just speak in acronyms and it was kind of weird to get used to. Um, but yeah, like I was asking them like, oh, how is the internship process working? And they would just like help like review your resume and also they'll help prepare you for interviews. And then if you are trying to do like pre-med or pre-law, we do have like those tracks as well. And then there's like a specific advisor that overlooks you. So when you're an incoming freshman, you have like an assigned advisor who's a professor, and then a sort of like upperclassman called FCC who looks over you. And then after you like, declare your major, you have a major assigned advisor. And usually it's like you have some sort of similar research interests or anything like that. And they'll advise you if you're like looking into grad school or trying to get a job. In terms of grad school, I would say Caltech is one of the best universities to prepare you for grad school just because we have so many different research opportunities. It's really hard for undergrads to get research opportunities at other schools because like I wouldn't say there's as high tech and like research, and also there's more people, so there's more competition. So definitely if you're looking into grad school, Caltech is a good option. And if you're looking into like entering industry after a bachelor's, Caltech is also has like a career offers to help you with that. Obviously I'm a sophomore, so I haven't like gone through the internship process yet, but they have been helpful in terms of like guiding me into like where to look and stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah, on the point about other colleges not having as much research opportunities, like at UCSD, there's definitely a lot of labs just because it's a huge campus, huge and a huge school. There's a lot of labs and a lot of professors where you could potentially get an internship or research opportunity at, but you are also competing against 33,000 other graduates versus at Caltech, I think it's something more like 1,000 undergraduates, something along those lines. And I've heard of a lot of stories of what actually okay, this part's the same with most colleges. Anyway, actually, yeah, and yeah, yeah, I definitely wouldn't say like if you go to big college like UCSD, you're never getting a research opportunity. Like that's just not true. If you keep like if you keep being resistant or tenacious and keep asking and emailing professors and reaching out, then you can definitely get a research opportunity there. Like I'd even go as far as to say like I would have been I would have been good there too. But it is true that for especially with somewhere like Caltech, research opportunities are a lot more available through like programs like SURF, and just with having a smaller student population, people or the staff and faculty can put in a little more care for each individual person versus at, for example, UCSD, each lecture hall has like 300 people taught by one professor. So let's see. So yeah, in that sense, I think it will definitely be a great way to prepare for my career. I'm also considering going into or planning to go into grad school, so having a research opportunity would be important for that. And I think Caltech would be a great place to relatively easily get it. I might even say, yeah.
Olivia Kinsuke, thank you very much. That concludes the panel discussion. We have about 7 minutes left for Q&A, and I already see there's a question. This is from Zinyan Wong. Hi, Olivia. Could you please tell us more about the 10-week project you did at Caltech? What was the process you went through narrowing down to what you will work on as a high schooler? What would be reasonable deliverables at the end of a summer research project?
Okay, so for my research project, like it's kind of really up to the professor you work with, but the professor that I worked with, he basically just put me with the SURF students, like the summer undergraduate research program students in his lab. And so basically you're paired up with a grad student and you sort of come up with a project together. So my project was in synthetic biology, and it was like these little peptides called cell penetrating peptides, and they just like transport things across a membrane in a cell. I don't know. It's a I won't talk about that too much. So so yeah, like it's definitely really structured the way that my professor worked on it, because basically he grouped me in with the undergrads. So you would work with a grad student. They would, for the first week or so, you would like do training to make sure that you don't mess anything up in their lab. And then you would meet with your grad student like every day basically, and then sort of come up like your experiments and how to run them. And then we also have like a weekly lab meeting. That's like when you're able to listen to like all the like actual PhD students talking about their research projects. So that was like a cool opportunity. And then at the end, you would hopefully have some results, though it's not assumed that you'll get good results because 10 weeks is definitely short. And basically, like I had like a final presentation I presented to the lab, and then for the actual surf program, you also write a final report, and then present to like the Caltech community, but that's for the undergrads only. So like the professor asked me if I wanted to write a report, and I was like, sure. Um, so I wrote a report and I actually submitted that to Caltech because they asked for, like, if you have a research portfolio, they ask that you upload something about it. And then they also asked for a letter of recommendation from someone in your lab. So I asked the professor, and yeah, in terms of deliverables, I would probably say like it's definitely hard to get, like the goal is not really to get a paper since you're a high school student. I do know there's like a couple of people who are just really talented, I guess, and have papers published in high school. I wouldn't stress too much about that, but I think the more it's like the experience you learn from it, and it's definitely something you can write about in your essays. And then it's nice to have like a little report to sort of show like you're able to write a scientific paper. And then if colleges ask for that, you can submit that.
Thank you, Olivia. We've got about 4 minutes left. Are there any questions? Any further commentary? Anything like that? I don't see any. Okay. Olivia Wong and Tuke Shimojo, thank you so much for lending your insight, your expertise, your time this Tuesday afternoon about Caltech. Do you two have anything you want to close with or anything like that before we sign off?
Um, I mean, I can talk about the non-science things that we have because I think that's important too.
Yeah.
Um, so like I'm a figure skater, so I guess figure skating has been a large part of my life. But like we also have lots of athletic teams at Caltech. Um, and I do think athletics are important in terms of balancing your life. And I do think Caltech is trying to drive away from like the nerd stereotype that all we do is study every day and we don't have fun, because that's not true. So we do have like a lot of people my grade, especially, are part of the swim teams, the track teams, and they practice like every day. So our school has like a policy that like office hours are not allowed to be at the athletic training time. So that's really nice. And we also have like different like student body leadership boards kind of. They're also like acronyms that I don't remember. So we have ARC, which is like the academic one. And so if you have a complaint about a class, like you sort of report it to the student leadership board and then they talk to the professors. So there's a lot of like student community, I would say. And then we have a lot of bunch of different clubs and classes. We have like orchestra, we have painting, we have dance club, we have like roller skating club, but it's not like the actual boots. It's like flat and like I don't know. But many, many different opportunities to have fun as well. So
Using Olivia's own words, Caltech, not just a school for nerds, apparently. There we go. Right?
yeah. I mean we're nerds with pizzazz.
There, I like that. Sounds like somebody is in admissions doing tours and selling the school. That's what it sounds like. That's pretty good, Olivia. Suke, you got something to add? We got about a minute.
Yeah, I guess just to dump something I learned as like from this entire experience, and to maybe like calm the nerves of some of people going into the entire college application process. But um actually, yeah, what I want, I guess the thing I want to share the most is what my dad told me when I was going to UCSD, which because we were actually kind of talking about like transfer applications a little bit before going into UCSD already, but something my dad said really helped with my experience there, which was um, whatever you do, give your best give your best wherever you are. And Because if you don't, then you'll just be unsatisfied anywhere you go. Because to be frank, yeah, Caltech has been my dream school for a while, and it was a big bummer when I unfortunately didn't get into my first year applications. But um, so I was feeling down, but I followed my dad's advice. I kept like keep I just decided to go give my best at UCSD too, and it was honestly a really great experience. It wasn't my dream school, but it was just but it was so much better than I could have expected because I reached out, I joined engineering clubs where we made a bunch of cool robots. I was able to make friends. And I honestly just had a really nice time there, and I was almost I didn't even go as far as say I would have been happy there too. It's and the only reason I transferred is because Caltech only has first year transfers available, I believe. So because I found out about my new interest in physics, I decided to give it a shot. But I guess the point of this is that wherever you go, if you keep your heads up and if you keep giving your best there, you'll know what to do. You'll know whether you'll either have a good time there, or you'll know that this is a good time to transfer, or just so I guess even if you don't get into your dream college, like you can still have a great time. Like Olivia said, college isn't the goal. It's just a step in the process to your actual goal, which might be like becoming a great scientist, becoming a great engineer, or something like that.
That's really sage advice for the college process overall, Kensuke. I appreciate that. Olivia, Kensuke, thank you for giving us your time. It's Tuesday afternoon. Go enjoy yourselves, even though you don't have school, so you'll probably be able to do that. I will see everyone tomorrow, same time, 3:15 to 4 p.m. We will have Northwestern. Kensuke, Olivia, thank you so very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Take
Yeah,
care, everybody.
yeah,
You
thanks for
too.
having us. Have a good
Bye.
day.